Let's go ahead and get into what's going on in society right now. If anybody's traveled in the last few days, you've seen that there's been really long lines until there wasn't when it comes to traveling in airports with the TSA, the Transportation Security Administration. Is that right? I think that's right. Now, we go to Marty O'Donnell. And once again, this is a political tweet here, but, you know, Marty's been on the show and he's running for Senate, I believe. So we're going to party completely shut down air travel to stop illegal from being deported. It sounds insane to say out loud, but it's exactly what happened. They don't care how much pain they cause Americans as long as the illegals they brought here get to stay. Now, there's a government shutdown right now in the United States of America, and that's why the TSA apparently isn't getting paid. And apparently we've seen like a bunch of people in the TSA quit because they're not getting paid. They're not getting their paychecks, which sucks. So, Phoenix, do you know a whole lot about like the whole government shutdown, how it all started and everything?
Not in great detail, but from my understanding, it's essentially the Dems are, from my understanding, are holding strong because they don't like what ICE is doing. So, and then the Republicans are saying, no, we got to do something about it. And so they're boycotting in a sense. And so that's what one of the big reasons for this shutdown has been.
Okay. So the TSA they're not working. And that which a few days ago related, you know, as you saw these massive lines when traveling here. These were hours and hours and hours.
A nightmare.
Pretty much the worst thing ever when you're traveling. And I saw some where they're saying the lines to get through TSA just alone were like 5 or 6 hours.
Hooray.
Stupid. By the way, can we just take off your stupid mask, you idiots? Sorry. They weren't social distancing either, which is the worst. But just the idea of this happening, if you were traveling on one of these 2 days, man, that sucks for you.
Gives me anxiety even looking at it, man.
I like that you're talking in past tense. So I'm hoping that this is resolved.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that, Phoenix, because what happened was apparently our leadership, the president of the United States, said, you know what I'm going to do about this? I'm going to send in ICE to help out with this and to help organize this. And ICE has then now has taken over some of the responsibilities of this. And well, I'll tell you what, let's just go to CNN and see how this has gone. CNN was actually kind of impressed with what's happened here.
Finally, we can take a deep breath here. The numbers have dropped off. The lines are getting shorter. I think the average wait time now is under 40 minutes. So if you have a flight to catch today, it's a good time to come to Hartsfield-Jackson International. Finally.
So they came in, they got organized, they helped keep people online. That was in Atlanta. This is in from Florida, right here.
And the wait line looks like this. In the couple of hours that I've been here, I've seen ICE officers patrolling, and the line has looked the same since I got here. Completely empty. So if you see wait times go down while you're traveling, you may just want to thank an ICE officer. Earlier this morning, travelers may have experienced a little bit of a wait time, but since I've been here, the lines seem to be moving fairly smooth.
So it appears that ICE has kind of come in, and not only are they taking out the illegal immigrants, we are seeing them handle up on the busy work when it comes to getting through security at the airport here. This also here, contrary to the narrative in the corporate media, many travelers at Houston's airport seem to be welcoming ICE presence as they're like handing out water to people in line and holding people's spots for bathroom breaks and things like that. It's
a brilliant move.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You figure, so one thing is you take resident normie, and they see long lines at an airline. They don't think politics. They immediately just think who's in power at the moment. Well, Trump's in power at the moment. And so just that all falls under his problem, right? They don't know the ins and outs of politics. So immediately you're going to go there, especially if people are whispering, oh, yeah, it's because of him. Okay. So then you get ICE to come in, and now are the saviors of making the lines faster. It's a beautiful PR move as well as a great solve But it does help ICE look like the guys that are now they're handing out water too. These are like your resident superheroes now for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have 6-hour wait lines. You have
Right, exactly.
40-minute wait lines to get through,
Yeah.
you know? So this brings up a lot of questions for me, actually, right? Like, look, we were all there. I think Blabs, you probably don't remember 9/11 very well. You were
Yes,
just
I
a
do.
baby. I mean,
Excuse me?
Okay. Well, I mean, you're a baby, right? You were
was
just a kid.
5.
Yeah, I'm saying, but you're 5. I was in college when that happened, right? Like, so I have a little bit more lived experience and such. And I mean, you know, I'm sure it impacted you, but to see it affects you differently when you're, 20 as opposed to 5. That's all I'm saying, right? We were all there when 9/11 happened. That's when the sweeping enforcement changed at the airports. Now all of a sudden you see people with guns. You got to go through security to go through. Or prior to 9/11, you're literally at the gate. You can literally walk through with your mom, see her off, or she can see you off, or whatever. There was no restrictions. Then that all went out the window. And that was 25 years ago at this point now. This is a quarter of a century that we've been dealing with this. Matt Walsh had a tweet that I wanted to get y'all's opinions on. Now, look, Matt has had some dumb takes when it comes to anime, gaming, whatever, right?
No, he hasn't.
You don't think that he's had dumb takes?
He does what I do, right? You lean into it a little bit, but his take overall has been fairly accurate, I'd say. That's a conversation for another time.
Right. Okay. Well, let's table that. He said, when TSA has been tested, it has failed to stop 80% of weapons smuggled through security. I don't know if this data is accurate or whatever, but TSA to this day has never actually prevented a terrorist attack. There's not a single documented case of a terror plot foiled by TSA. On top of that, TSA was formed in response to 9/11, but 9/11 was not a failure of airport security. Airport security had basically nothing to do with it. So while this standoff over TSA funding continues, keep in mind that the agency shouldn't exist and is historically terrible at its job. We should privatize airport security again. Then it can't be used as a bargaining chip by politicians. So that brings up the larger question. Do you think that the TSA, and as it currently stands, should go away?
Yes.
Leaf?
Well, I think anytime the government handles something, it's like almost always bad. Like that's like the one thing that is, it's almost as universal as like death and taxes, is that the government is going to suck at whatever function that they're trying to do. Going to be as inefficient as possible.
Remember that it took like 20 years basically for them to reinstate that you could wear your shoes in security again? What the fuck, dude? Like, no, go fuck yourself. I'm not gonna walk barefoot in an airport. Ugh. So no, they can
still
go fuck
can.
themselves. No, you can still wear. No, you can wear shoes again. They put it back like 6 months ago, where you can now wear shoes through security.
Really? Because I know you could if you had like the special clearance, like those pre clearance things.
Yeah,
that you could.
TSA checks
They did
and
it
stuff
so
like that.
everyone can now.
So everyone can, but the problem is they're so retarded anyway, because let's say you have metal on your shoes, like a zip or something, that gets flagged anyway. So even though you'd be like, do you still need me to take my shoes off? And they give you a hard time, they say no, then you go through the detector and it beeps and they're like, go back, take your shoes off and go again. I'm like, we could have done this the first time when I offered, and they
That
gave me an
happens to
attitude
me
and said,
all the
yeah, it
time.
happens to so many people. Me, Phoenix, happens to everybody. So it's still retarded. But if you wear sneakers, you kind of get through no problem.
Did you ever see those pictures of like the guys that they wear the T-shirt that says it's not gay if it's TSA, and then they're just getting like built up by the.
Dude, I got felt up
Amazing.
once by TSA. It was terrible. I was wearing a dress and everything, and they're like, "We got to check you." I'm like, "Are you shitting me here?" It was in Oregon. Not fun. The end.
Well, a lot of people are really pissed at the idea of ICE being an airport. Let's go back to CNN to see what they had to say about this.
Be better.
Is there
Be
a
better.
single report today of something going awry with ICE agents?
Well,
at
thank
an airport?
God for 24 hours something bad
I'm
didn't
asking,
happen.
maybe there is.
There was a ICE.
But obviously, this is Scott Jennings, who is kind of the sane one on CNN in their panel here.
Yeah, there was. There was a ICE agent refusing to identify himself, arresting a woman in an airport, freaking people
Where?
out. They weren't even sure it was in San Francisco airport.
Well, what kind of an interaction was it actually? Do you know the situation?
It was an arrest. I don't know. Scott, what
Who
information do you have?
who did they arrest? No, you're bringing it up. Who did they arrest?
No,
Cut it out.
I'm saying
Internet.
We'll need the internet.
Scott, two senior administrators.
Meanwhile, this woman was arrested by ICE Sunday at San Francisco's airport. DHS says she's from Guatemala, had a deportation order signed by a judge, and tried to flee as officers were deporting her. DHS saying the incident was unrelated to efforts to help TSA.
Classic.
Yeah, pretty awesome. You see the headline and just kind of roll with it right there. What a, I mean, honestly, kind of brilliant move, like putting ICE of all things at the airport. I mean, you're right, Phoenix, when it came to this idea, man.
Solves everything, including PR. It's a brilliant move.
It is. I agree.
Chuck Schumer was not happy about this as well. This is the before.
Everywhere ICE goes, trouble follows. We've seen that. And it is highly likely the airports will be no exception. No one trusts that ICE is going to make things better.
Once again, ICE agents have arrived here in Philadelphia, but I do want to point out, this is an empty line right now. We are standing in the middle where travelers come to check in for TSA. Yesterday, this was all the way back to the garage. So good news today, lines aren't too bad. We're live from PHL. Brianna Gallagher, Channel 6 Action News.
Wait, hold on, though. Who's causing the problems, though, right? Like, they're saying anytime ICE goes somewhere, problems follow. Yeah, but who's causing that? I find this to be a little bit maddening because they always say this. Oh, anytime ICE does something, like there's problems. Like, who's causing the problems, though? Is it actually ICE or is it other people who are attacking them?
Right. Well, I think we understand the answers. I don't think ICE is going out just like looking for trouble, you know. And I think any of the shootings that we've seen, that it's never been, well, I just really want to go out and murder somebody today, you know, or kill somebody. You know, it's just, well, it's always a response to some of the nonsense. But
it's like a terrorist hostage setup. It's like it's like, if you enforce the law, then we are going to make a huge freaking ruckus and then blame you for the huge freaking ruckus that we created. Like, it's so bullshit. Like, they're just trying to do like what their function is, like as an agency, and it's such a hostage situation.
But that's what we're dealing with here, right? Is the idea of that's why ICE has had to be deployed to begin with. You know, like,
yes,
it's just,
exactly.
You're cleaning up a mess. That's all it is. You got to go in and clean up the entire mess. By the way, if these ICE agents can go in and make things efficient in a day, what does that say about TSA? What does that say about these people who, like, with all due respect, I'm sure I know we have some people who work TSA, right? That watch us, right? So, question for anybody who works for TSA, legit question: why is it so inefficient? If it's so inefficient that a random government agency can go in and just make it work in one day, what's the problem? And why does it suck so bad? And I just go back to like this idea of TSA really ramped up after 9/11. That was talked about a minute ago, right? I asked you your thoughts. I'd love to give you my thoughts on that when it comes to TSA. I do think that there should be some security, right? Now, do we need to be taking off our belts? I don't know. I feel like, you know, right now we're still going through metal detectors, the same ones we've seen since
Your name
2001.
is Ahmed. You go to the other side of the line. Solved in fucking 1 minute.
Not Jeff Smith from
Common sense. It's just it's real simple. You see an 85-year-old grandma, move on, my dude. Just move on. Listen, look, and then of course you're going to unfortunately get the once in a while occasion where they put something in the 85-year-old grandma's purse. Unfortunately, you know what? I'm willing to take all these risks because it's ridiculous that you have to wait 2 hours to get on a plane because of this very, very tiny percentage here. We already have the technology. There's facial scanning everywhere. Even when you go outside, we know exactly. I imagine we know exactly who is a problem and who isn't. We've got better technology of surveillance. We've got better technology of being able to look inside bags and stuff like that. I'm very confident this could be made easier. It's just the government doesn't want to budge. The government's going to government, and that's the problem.
You know what's interesting about this? This also comes. I wanted to kind of go back to this ICE agent here. Look, this says ICE agents in Houston are constantly assisting passengers to help them to get through TSA to their flights, even though Dems lied that ICE would be terrorizing and even killing Americans. Okay, let's talk about this for a second.
The lower level, if you're just
Have we seen it? Like, let's just say random, like these people who are showing up at these protests to protest ICE, right? Do you think in their right mind they would say anything to one of these agents at the airport, or they just shut their mouth and want to get on their plane, right? I say this with the intention of saying it's all fucking performative. All these this outrage they have over ICE and all this stuff, and yeah, people have died because of that ridiculous outrage over here. For the most part, these are just people trying to do their job, you know, and they're just trying to point people in the right direction. Like this dude may disagree with ICE, but hey, man, you're helping me out now. You know, I don't know. It just seems like this idea that they would be quote unquote terrorizing Americans by giving them directions is it's just fascinating to me. Fascinating to how broken people are.
It's weird because like I have experienced like friends of mine who are of the more left persuasion being really going into panic over the ICE thing, like saying like, oh, they're just gonna start like deporting like random people at the airport. I'm like they're gonna deport like actual citizens, not like random illegals, because like I would agree with that obviously, but
right,
saying that they're gonna start deporting citizens at the airport. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, what?